Hello. It's Face. And, yeah, I don't know what you'd call this. Maybe you'd call it a podcast. Maybe you'd call it, a lazy podcast is what it would be. I think I'd just call it Talking with Face, because I don't know where this could fit in a genre. I decided I'd need an outlet. I need to express things, you know? I can't just hold things inside my chest forever. And this is a great platform to do it. I don't feel like I'm enough. And I'll explain that more, but it comes down to a great point of I don't feel like I'm enough. In everything I do, really. I doubt myself for so many things, even though I do have my moments, like when I'm at school and things like that, and I'm talking with my friends, that I feel like a different person, like I can do whatever I want. But the second I get home, I just feel like I'm back a 12-year-old body who can't live up to anything. I really try to be the best person that I can be constantly, but I just spend a lot of time thinking, and thinking leads to doubting myself for certain things. Like, I'll remember certain things I do in the day and think like, oh, why didn't I do that differently? And then I just get upset at myself for not doing it how I should have. But what I don't let myself realize is that I'm human and I'll make mistakes. But even though I know that, it's still hard to feel like I'm being enough. I try to do the best things that I can for me to avoid any kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, conflict. I don't want to make life any harder than it has to be. Life is already pretty fucking hard at times. So I'd like to try set it up nicely for myself by making choices that I think are good decisions and could benefit me. And one of them is trying to remind myself I'm human and that I can't do everything 100% perfectly. And, it actually works sometimes. I'll remember that and just calm down, not stress. Because I don't stress very much at all, but when I do stress, I almost break down. Like, I can't handle it. I get too much stress when I get stress. So I try to avoid it as much as I can, but it's kind of hard to avoid sometimes. Because I know I'm capable of, doing some math test. I'm not worried. I'm not stressing over a math test as long as I'm capable and I know I can study and get a good grade on it. But it's the stress of studying and doing everything, but I don't know, something gets in the way of that and I forget, or I just don't do that good on the test just because I'm not a good test taker. Then I come home and I sit and I get anxious and I worry for weeks until my dad sees my grade, and then it just all releases then. I think what it comes down to is I love my parents a lot, but the thing I stress about the most is letting my dad down, which is, it sounds ridiculous hearing that out loud, because I know I'm not going to let him down by getting a bad grade. Sure, I might disappoint him a little bit, but he's more focused on wanting to get me up and do better next time, which I appreciate so much. But it's like I'm trapping myself in my own mental conflict. And I just want to make sure, I do the best I can so I can get that smile off of him, or the high five and the good job and the everything. It just, if I'm being completely honest, I have pretty good grades right now, but I don't like school. I could give less than a shit about grades. What I'm glad to receive is coming home and showing my dad that I did good. and then he's like proud. That's all I care about. I don't really care about getting an A. I just want to see him proud, which goes back to me trying to be the most that I can. I want to try hit levels that are way above me, that I'm trying to lift a 1,000-pound metal bar that is scalding hot when I haven't worked out in months. So it's just, I like to try do these things, and sometimes I actually do get them. Sometimes I just, by surprise, it fails. And it just, after a while, it hits so hard on me that, holding up the anxiety and stuff, that when my dad would like come in to show me or talk to me about grades and I know I have a bad one, every single time we talk about grades and there's something wrong, I cry. Every time. And honestly, I'm just as interested as he is as to why, because sometimes it's not even that bad. I miss one assignment and I'm like bawling my eyes out. Well, he's just like, just get it in, do better next time. It's like not even that big a deal. I think what I've come down to is I build so much inside me, and I'm so scared to let myself be less than what I want to be. Like human. Because I am human. I have to let my emotions out sometimes. I can't just bottle them in forever. But I sure as hell try to. It gets to me sometimes. Even though I don't cry on my own, like in my room. It's just when I'm around people, when I notice it and things like that. It's nerve-wracking to think that I can be myself, my normal self. I don't have to try win everybody over. I don't have to crack a joke every time it's possible just because I want people to like me. I can just be myself. And a lot of that doubt, that feeling of not wanting to be myself, comes from being depressed, I think. It's really, where do I even start? Since I started taking medication to help myself with depression, it's honestly been in a whole new life. Like, I'm seeing life in ways I've never seen before, and honestly, it's amazing. I'm almost terrified of the thought of the medicine stopped working for like a week. It terrifies me because I can't go back. Now that I've had happiness, I can't go back to what I used to be like. Like, being able to be not down all the time has really shown me the level of human that I should have let myself be, and I didn't. When I was really depressed, at my worst, just absolutely horrible, during that time, I made myself believe that I'm perfectly fine. Like, when somebody would say, like, I'm going through a hard time, I'd always just think, like, no, I'm not, I'll be fine. When really, now that I'm better and I'm looking back on it, that was the hardest time I've faced in years. That was the toughest pain I felt in a long, long time. Like, I seriously would stress so much about my grades, but it's like two forces that are really strong pushing against each other, while I'm just kind of like trying to support one side. It's just not working. Like, I can't do anything about it. My stress for grades and wanting to make my dad proud of me would push one side, while depression just pushes the other side. And I kept a 3.0 throughout all of that time of being depressed, and I'm really proud, because I don't think people actually understand how hard it is. I don't think enough people understand how hard it is to stand up in the morning while you're depressed. Because honestly, you can't. Like, I would get myself up in the morning because I was scared to, make my dad upset by sleeping in too late. So I would get up, I'd take a shower, I'd go to school, I'd come home. If I laid down, I'm done for the rest of the day because I physically can't get up. Unless my dad has me out doing something, I can't get up. Nothing's fun when you're depressed. I play a lot of video games with friends, but even then, you can't. Even for video games, like, I could get a brand new game I've never played, something I want to play. If I laid down and I started getting depressed, done for the rest of the day. I can't get up. It's like your legs don't work. It's like you're stuck in that position on your bed. You just can't move. All you can do is listen to music, watch videos, think. There's nothing else you can do. You honestly, you can't feel hungry because you don't want to eat. You don't want to fuel yourself, even though you should. Like, the worst I've ever gone through that was probably the 8th grade. I think it was around the start of my depression, and my eating was awful. I went into freshman year nearly 5'6" and still 105 pounds. That's really light. Going into summer school after that to sophomore year doing PE, we kept track of our weight. I was only 118. And now I'm 130. I'm really proud of myself for reaching average weight. And, I feel good at being able to reach that. But I remember those times when it's just a lot of remembering now that I'm feeling better. And just realizing how actually bad I was doing. And I never let myself believe that I was doing bad. I tell everyone, yeah, I'm fine. Because I just believed I was fine. When somebody would ask me the question, I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I genuinely believed that. But, as soon as I'm not talking to somebody, I was just destroyed. It's like a pain in your chest that is so severe that you can't stand. So the second you start feeling it, the first thing you think is, I just want to go lay down away from people. You go to lay down away from people, and then you feel lonely and more sad. And it just keeps gripping at you. It's like a hand grabbing your heart and just squeezing it every now and again, and it really hurts. And honestly, it's very mental too. A lot of the mental things it does to you is why it's so bad. I mean, physically it does things to you. Like, my acne broke out for a while just because the only thing I wanted to eat was chocolate because it was sweet or something, and it's just what I wanted. I didn't want to eat anything else. But the mental things that it does to you are just, it's bad. You're constantly lonely, but you don't want to talk to people. God, I'm still trying to get over that, because that one's clung on to me. Like, an example, I'm like on the computer, I've got like 3 friends online, all different people. I can talk to any one of them if I want to, and play some video games. But so I'm like, all right, I'm pretty lonely. I would like that. So I call one of them up, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's good. We're having a good conversation. We're playing some video games. And right as we start getting into it, just that pain in your chest. You just sit there. You honestly can't even focus on the video game or what you're talking about. You give him mediocre responses like, yeah, and because you honestly can't focus. It hurts that bad. And then you have to come up with an excuse like, oh, my dad's calling me. I'll be right back. And then you hang up and go, like, stare at your computer, just like feeling awful. It's such a weird feeling that I can't explain. It's so strong, yet people seem to not realize how strong it is. During my worst time sophomore year, I told, like, my close friends, Dalton and Carlos, I have depression. It sucks. Because, I trust them a lot. And they understood and everything, But even with that, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you have never been depressed, you can't understand it. But that can go for a lot of things, really. But it's just, God, remembering that time, it makes me feel really blessed now, really, that I can wake up in the morning and not want to jump in the middle of traffic first thing my eyes wake up. I can just wake up now and just have a deep inhale and exhale, drink some water, and then chill in bed, look at my phone for a little bit, take a shower, go to school, have a great time. Life isn't as miserable as it used to be. And it feels great. Maybe, yeah, this probably doesn't even make any sense looking back on it later. I just need to get this off my chest. I need to get emotions off my chest. I can finally feel myself wanting to talk. Because when you're depressed, you don't want to talk. You don't want to talk to anybody except for the few times you do. And one thing I do remember wanting to think so much, but I just never would, is I just want to be, I guess it's human nature, really, but I want to be loved. Maybe I'm just a teenager, there's a lot of reasons you can put for that. It could just be human nature, I'm a teenager, hormones, shit like that. I don't know. I know for myself that I don't need to rush into love. I don't need it right away. I'm actually perfectly content where I am just with my friends, because they're awesome. They're the best friends I could ever ask for. But there is still that part of me that misses my old days where I could just know I had somebody that I could calmly be myself around, talk in my normal voice, and just hug them and love them. It feels lovely to be loved. And I guess I just miss it because it's been a while. But yeah, also, I guess something most people don't know is that, yeah, I don't talk in my normal voice even that much, because I would doubt myself and I thought my voice was annoying. So I would try to make my voice not annoying. This is me talking in my normal voice. I would try talking the internet is something like this, so, it sounds more funny and it, has more of a different tone to it. And it works better for jokes. I can yell a lot in this, and, if you're loud, you're funny. But yeah, that's how I would talk a lot of the times. Like a YouTuber named Swagger Souls. That's what it kind of is going for, because in my time, I just saw Swagger Souls, and, his voice is funny. When you watch him, you're like, oh, it's his voice. It's hilarious. So I would try talk like something like my version of that, just because I wanted to make people happy. God, I remember sitting at my computer wanting to do anything, but so empty that I couldn't. I remember going to school feeling so empty that it was hard to think. It's like living life in the third person, It's like I'm never there. I'm like watching myself from a movie. The most boring movie, because I'm just empty. There's no emotion almost always. Even while I'm laughing, no emotion. I can be out with my friends and still feel lonely. Just because you're in a group with your best friends and your family doesn't mean you don't feel alone when you're depressed. And that was one of the things that's hard coming over, because I would always tell myself everything bad that was happening to me is like, oh, it's not that bad, you're just being a wimp. And it sucks. It sucks a lot to be stuck in that trance of telling yourself you're being a wimp. You're being too overdramatic. Because really, it's just how you are. Since I'm feeling better, I'm actually nowhere near as emotional as I used to be, even though I'm still pretty emotional. It was the depression messing with me. And then I thought it was just me, because I had been depressed so long, I forgot what it was like to not be. But that's also one of the things. Maybe not a lot of people can agree with me on this. This is just kind of my own thing, maybe. I've always been a very big-hearted person, you know? I wouldn't hurt a fly kind of person. And I'm very empathetic. Like, even for people that aren't existent, I would be empathetic. And dealing with that as a guy is a lot different than dealing with it as a girl. It's just one of those things. If you're really empathetic and emotional as a girl, it's stereotypical girl. But as a guy, you're seen as a wimp. You're seen as like, just all those non-manly things because guys aren't supposed to feel emotion or something. Which I think is very fucking stupid. I don't know who came up with that. But for a long, long time, still even now, I'm trying to get over it. I just feel like I'm just less of a person than most people because I'm not manly. I'm not as tall as the other guys. I had long hair at the time, so I was like, oh, I have long hair. People tell me I look like a chick. I'm stupid. Fucking stupid. And being emotional would mess with me a lot of the time because I remember sitting in my room and I would actually just grip my hair and just be angry at myself for feeling emotion as hard as I did. Like, saying that out loud, it's so stupid. But when you're actually living it, it makes complete sense. Because you almost can't. If you're a man and you hang out with people who are, finger quotes, manly, you have to be a man. You have to be not, emotional. You can't be a chick. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you a real dude? Come on. Grow some balls. That's exactly what it feels like. And I love my dad so much. My dad is seriously one of my biggest role models, if not my biggest role model. But even now, and for the longest time, I almost can't be myself at home, even though I know I could be. He'd never judge me. I know he wouldn't. But it's engraved in my mind to try make him proud, which means I can't be myself when I'm with him or when I'm talking to him. Because I'm too emotional. It's just... oh, God. I'm too emotional to be the great kid that I want him to see. Like, eating certain foods, I'm just decently picky. So maybe it's not even emotional, but eating certain foods, there's something that I cannot get down my throat. Because I don't know why, I'm just picky. And he says something like, come on, son, just eat it. It's not bad. Quit being picky. I'm actually so emotional. And while you're depressed, I did this a lot. Even when it's things like that, where he's not actually being that serious, he's just kind of like being picky, but it's not that big a deal. I would actually sit there at the table, trying my hardest to keep a straight face and not burst into tears, just from that. Because I would actually... it's like getting the train started. Once the train's starting and it's going 100 miles per hour, you cannot stop it. So once that's already started, it starts out something like, well, just eat it. Come on, eat it. Quit being a wuss. Just eat it. Come on. What are you doing this? Why are you always like this? And it's just flooding my mind with thoughts like that. And the thoughts just get worse and worse and worse. It's like a hammer that multiple people are just kicking you on the ground, beating the shit out of you as you just sit there in public trying not to cry as hard as you can, thinking about how fucking awful of a person you are for not eating cheese-covered broccoli. How stupid is that? Like, I wish it wouldn't have happened, and I know there are people out there who feel exactly that way, and it makes me sad, because I know exactly what that is like. I know how hard that weighs down on a person after a while. Going out to lunch with my dad every Thursday, and every single Thursday, I would feel those rush of emotions. it's so tough to have these kind of things going on in your mind and then having to act like nothing's wrong. Genuinely. Not the girl way of, saying I'm fine, but clearly something's wrong. You have to genuinely make others believe there is nothing wrong. Which, once you've felt those kind of things, or you're in the middle of those, that's an impossible task sometimes. Yet, I would do it every day. There wasn't a single day I didn't have to do that. And it's so tough. It weighs down. And I never would talk about it because I was self-conscious about it. It's so awful. God, I'm glad I was able to get myself where I am. I'm glad I'm continually trying to better myself. I grew some self-confidence for myself. And honestly, if you ask me how, I can't tell you. I don't know how. One of my most vivid memories of growing self-confidence was actually, I don't know why. I had Spotify. I had just gotten Spotify. I was trying out the feature where it shows you different artists. I was loving music. And I started listening to Eminem for the first time. I mean, the only songs I ever listened to was like Rap God. When I was little, playing Minecraft. Listening to Rap God playing Hunger Games, thinking I was badass. But I started listening to him a lot, and I just really fucking felt him. I felt what he was talking about. I felt he would try be tough, but in other songs he would talk about the same things I would feel. Which, he's trying to be tough, but he's not. No one is. And I really felt it. And I remember vividly one night at like 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep because depression was weighing me down so hard. I was sitting up in my bed, looking out the window at the sky, listening to Eminem. And it just hit me that I'm a lot more than what I tell myself I am. I don't have to do everything for everyone else. I don't have to be so selfless to the point where it hurts me marginally more. I can do some things for myself. And since that night, it just started building in me, and I cried the first time I felt my self-confidence. I did. I did. I remember that. And it feels amazing to be able to, for once, not be so selfless to where it destroys me. Because that's how I used to be my entire life. I was so selfless. If my friend was like, dude, I'm really sad right now, slap yourself in the face so I can feel better, I'd do it with no questions asked. And seeing his smile would almost fill me with like being rewarded. Even though he's gaining pleasure from me doing that. And now I can simply open a pack of mints and the guy behind me says, hey, can I have one? I don't have to absolutely have a panic attack in my mind when it's the last mint in the box and I really wanted it, but I give it to him anyways. I don't have to have a panic attack now about that situation. Now I can just turn around and say, I actually kind of want this. Before I'd be like, here, take it. Here, you want my wallet too? Here, you can come over to my house too. I got some dogs. I got some cool stuff. Now I can just simply say, I actually kind of wanted this. And it feels amazing. Like, it's a blessing to be able to feel that way. Because not everybody gets to. Not everybody gets to wake up in the morning with the feeling of neutral or excited for the day or anything. Because every day I woke up, I either thought about suicide or I felt absolutely nothing to the point where it felt awful. Suicide's another one of those things that is, it comes with the bundle deal, the combo with depression. You can't have depression and not think about it. And you just got to keep going, you know? You hear that throughout all of your depression is keep going. Just keep going, dude. You'll be better in the end. When I was going through it and I heard that, I was like, that's really fucking cheesy. Thanks, that helps so much. But there is nothing else to tell, because it's true. Things will work out. As long as you continually try to better yourself, things will work out. And you'll be okay. You'll smile one day. Sure, you'll frown some days, but you will smile some days. And that's what you have to focus on, because if you focus on the days where you're frowning, then you're going to frown every day. If you go into something saying, I'm going to lose, you will lose. If you go into something saying, I think I'm going to give this my all, I hope we win, then at least you have a chance. A chance is better than nothing. That was hard for me to get through my mind for a while. I used to be a pessimist, a really, really hard pessimist. And when I finally started getting a little optimistic for myself, it feels great. It feels great, honestly. It's much more rewarding when you're online and some guy's just yelling at you for doing awful to just say, have a great day, dude, than it is to yell back. You go out of it not caring what he thinks. Other times I'd be angry and I'd say stuff back to him. And then he would just say stuff back to me, and then it's an argument, then we're both pissed off for the rest of the day. Going into it, he calls me some gay-ass little kid, and I just say nothing, or just say, have a great day. Then I just don't care. He can be pissed off all he wants, but I don't care. And learning that is important, I think, because it really helps with your life. Because that's not just video games. You can use that in real life, too. Going into situations with a bad attitude will outcome almost always in a bad attitude. A good attitude, at least you have a chance of making something good. Or at least helping somebody else. I don't feel like anybody helps each other anymore. Now that I'm in high school and I'm looking at everybody and seeing my generation's kind of kids, nobody helps each other anymore. Nobody talks to each other anymore. If I were to go up to some random guy in the hallway and say, hey, what's going on? He'd probably look at me funny like I'm a fucking maniac. And he's like, what? Why are you talking to me? Everybody's so engraved in their phones, everybody's forgotten how to talk to each other. It's insane, really, to look at how we've changed as humans. In movies, you'd see the cheesy little girl drops her papers, some guy comes over, helps her get them up, they start talking for a bit, maybe become friends. In reality now, if some guy were to drop all of his papers, nobody would stop to help him. Unless there's that lucky person. Almost everybody would be like, maybe look at him, maybe say, you okay? Unless they're his friends, nobody would stop. That's just... fucking sucks. Really, that's the only way I can describe it. Fucking sucks. Man. All in all, through all of this, I think I'm happy expressing myself. And I put up a video. I'm not gonna hide from it anymore. I put up a video called Endless, and it was one of my poems that I wrote when I was really depressed in class, and I can't cry in class, so I would write down my crying, which I did a lot. I would write my crying. And it's a great way to get emotions out. I got a lot of bad feedback from that video, which I completely understand. I completely understand. A lot of it from family. Because it was scary. It was scary to see, and I think I just got my point off wrong. Because how people interpreted it was not my point. My point of that video was supposed to be suicide hurts, and it's never the option. it just didn't come off that way, I guess, to some people. Those were my intentions. And I stick with that. Through all of what everybody has said to me, even though I felt like absolute human what the fuck? I felt like absolute human garbage after that video. After talking to my family and they were concerned about me, I felt like the worst human alive. But now that I've had my time to make my own opinions, I don't regret it. Because I should be allowed to express myself, shouldn't I? It's just, when you look at it a different way, if I were to have kept those feelings, those strong feelings, bottled up inside of me instead of getting them out in some form, you know how much that would have weighed on me more than it would have been just to express it. I'm sick of trying to feel like, I feel like shit every time I talk about real feelings to people because they always make me feel like shit. Why can't I just express to you that, yeah, I do have thoughts of suicide, even though I'm clearly saying I would never do that. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to better myself. What's wrong with expressing myself? I think it's the right thing to do, honestly. If you have all those strong emotions in you, let them out. As long as you're not harming somebody, let them out. You know? But I don't know. Maybe I'm doubting myself too much. Maybe I actually did just word it wrong. I don't know. That's in my past now. If I do a video like that again, though, I don't want to make myself feel like shit for making something that I believe will help somebody else. I want my life and my depression to help somebody else going through the same thing. Because it's awful, especially as a dude. It's really bad, especially as a dude going through middle school and high school. It's really bad. So I want to my dream is to help people. And if I feel I can make a video where I can talk about those feelings and it can help somebody else, I want to be proud of that. I want to help people. And even if it's just giving somebody a smile, sometimes that is all somebody needs, is a smile or a hug or anything. If you were to think about it right now, genuinely, if you were to sit down and think about it, when was the last time you went out to try and make someone just happy? Just for a second even. Smile, a hug, anything. Maybe crack a joke if you see they're feeling bad. When was the last time you did that? Because most people can't really ever think of anything, and it's not a bad thing. It's just not human nature to go out of their way to help somebody else. But you should make that a personal goal. Go help someone. Even if it doesn't have to be something big. Just call your mom, tell her she's doing great, tell her how awesome she is. You know, I'm sure your mom works hard. Or, I don't know, text a friend if they're feeling down. Hang out with somebody. Do something. Because why not? Life is very short. High school's shown me that. These years are just zooming by. I feel like it was just freshman year and I'm a junior. Life goes by so quick and you only get to have fun so often. So go outside. You know, hang out with friends. Do things that you don't like with friends and you'll find maybe I like it. You know, I don't like to go outside and walk around in the heat. But if I'm with my friends and we're having a good time laughing and I got some money, I am completely down to go out and just hang out for hours. Because why not? When I get older and I'm in college, I'm not going to get to do those things. I'm not going to have money. I'm not going to have time. So enjoy this, you know? I have parents to make me food and tell me and remind me of my responsibilities that I forget. I don't have to pay bills. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about many things in general. So just go out, do things. You might find it's actually fun if you just get yourself to do it. You know, and that's coming from me. I hated doing these things until one day I just did it. And it helped with my depression a lot to go out and hang out with friends. Hang out. My voice. If there's anything you can pull from this, just help yourself, help others, and try not to worry so much, okay? You're doing great. Just remember that. I'll talk to you later.